Some time passed, and around September 2014, Joey was itching to release the shader, reaching out to Sonic Ether to allow us to release it publicly. Joey was very keen about releasing the shader, whereas I had my doubts it would ever happen. So I continued my work on perfecting the volumetric clouds, and towards the end of September, they were looking as they did in the 1.0 release of Continuum. Towards the end of 2014, there was a lot of talk about Sonic Ether's global illumination. And after going through a few of the older development shaders that I grabbed from SugarSync, I found an older GI code which was very FPS heavy. In October 2014, we reached out to Chocopic, another shader developer that most other shaders were based on, to ask if he had any suggestions to help us get God Rays back into Zeus. At this point, both me and Joey couldn't get them to work. Chocopic gave me the code necessary to get them in, but by the time I got it, it was really quite late at night. So I passed the code off to Joey, who managed to get the God Rays in by the time I woke the next day, with only a small little bug that I was able to fix quite quickly. And thus, God Rays had returned to Zeus once more. November 2014, we created a Facebook page called Minecraft Shader Pics. This page was mainly for people to contact us to get access to the modified shader, as we still didn't have permission to release it publicly, and also just to generally post pictures of their shaders. January 1st, 2015, I made a post saying that we were no longer giving out the shader, and that we might start up again if Sonic Ether releases a new shader version. Well, not even 12 hours later, he released 10.2 Preview 1 with global illumination. I got straight to work on getting GI and our shader, and after several hours, I had a working beta version. But in the process, I had broken a lot of other features. After a day or so of work, we managed to get GI fully working in our shader. I think it's because GI is implemented that many people think that Continuum is actually a modified 10.2, which it isn't. Soon after, we started on optimizations for GI and ended up with a few small FPS gains. Now, a small fun fact. Those who follow Sonic Ether would most likely know that he posted having HBAO along with his GI, and when 10.2 was released, it only had SSAO. Many are still asking or waiting for it, but after talking to Sonic Ether myself and bringing this up, he admitted he was mistaken, thinking he had actually created HBAO, but later finding out it was actually only SSAO. So yeah, sorry guys, but there is no HBAO, only SSAO. And for the less tech savvy, HBAO is horizon based ambient occlusion, and SSAO is screen space ambient occlusion. The name Zeus Complete also came about around the end of 2014/2015 and would stick to almost the official release. February 2015, the Cloud Shadows feature that was in 10.2 Preview 2 was added. From then until the end of June 2015 was mainly a time of working on optimizations and tweaking the code and visuals. In June, Joey was able to add underwater refraction, and Joey decided he wanted to improve the shadows as well, mentioning Nvidia's new PCSS, or Percentage Closer Soft Shadowing, but was saying we would need extra code added to the actual shaders mod to make it work. I then mentioned to him that I'd seen a shader a while back with something close to this called Death Raid's Nitro Shaders. The shader and website for it was kind of dead, but I showed Joey, and after seeing this, he was on a mission to hunt the creator down and see if he can make it for our shader. I laughed to myself and said, okay, no worries Joey, just don't get your hopes up. I learned that day just how stubborn and tenacious Joey can be. In less than 30 minutes, Joey got back to me saying he'd found him, spoken to him, shown him our shader that he loved, and he's on board and is now starting work on PCSS for us. Deathraid then became the third member of Continuum. With Deathraid and Joey both being in America and myself in Australia, the development of PCSS was mainly done by them, as that the communication was difficult with the different time zones. So by the start of July 2015, we had PCSS in and fully working. Joey and Deathraid then started their next project of adding in PBR, or physically based rendering, or simply a more realistic specular. This never eventuated due to there being a similar effect already in the shader that they were unaware of.
Yeah, okay, so you're talking about the specular highlight from the sun, right? And the Fresnel effect for the shading. That's already implemented, and it has been for a while, since 10.0. And it's really obvious with pumpkins, because they have sort of a glossy. So straight on, I'm talking about the Fresnel effect, by the way. Those of you who don't know what this is, I'll just explain it briefly. When you look straight on, most objects that aren't like metals and stuff, the reflection's pretty weak. But when you look at an oblique angle and the light is at an oblique angle with your view vector, the highlight becomes much stronger. So you can see it's not very strong here, and then it gets much stronger there. That's an element of physically based shading. So yeah. Yeah, that's a basic Fresnel effect. It also applies to water. When you're looking at the water straight on, it's not very reflective. And the more oblique the angle, the more reflective it gets. If you want it to look real, make sure it has Fresnel. That's all I can say. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's been in there for a while. I appreciate it.
As well as the early builds needing a actual custom specular texture for it to work, and the FPS hit was massive. At the start of August, after watching a live stream that Sonic Ether did about shader development, and seeing him work on volumetric light, we saw how it was coded, and were able then to get it in Zeus Complete. Creating volumetric light was a real group effort. Joey got the base code in, and then I pretty much recoded the colouring of it and added in controllers to reduce the haze. Deathraid recoded the base of it again to get it work in a slightly different way to that of Sonic Ether. It was also during his live stream that other members of the community were voicing their desire for us to go publicly with Zeus Complete, as it was known.
Opinion on Zeus Complete. I mean, from what I've seen of it, it's kind of a subjective. It's kind of like a set of subjective adjustments. Some people like that more. Some people like, unmodified Zeus more. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion other than that. I do like some of the changes in there. I don't like some others, and it's just a personal opinion. So, I mean, this is a technical art, writing shaders, but it's still a form of art, and art is, you can't say that one form of art is better than another, I mean, to a certain extent, you get what I'm saying. It's very subjective.
Sonic Ether acknowledged them by talking about the shader, and during the live stream, Joey asked Sonic Ether if we could, release it publicly. To my surprise, Sonic Ether actually said yes. Without Joey asking, and the community's involvement, we would never have managed to release it publicly. Exactly 2 years to the month, when I practically started modding the shader, that would eventually become Continuum, it was officially released. From there, we released 1.0, and then the performance update of 1.1. During late September 2015, I mentioned to Sonic Ether during a Skype chat that the water needed some real TLC, as soon as possible. Then he told me about a new water he was working on with caustics. It was quite FPS heavy, but he gave it to me anyway. Later in October, he then notified me of the new optimized water caustics that he'd been working on and gave it to me. Unfortunately, as the same with volumetric light, there isn't any Zeus version with this effect, so we can't release a shader including this until Sonic Ether releases one.